You can't. I understand. I understand you, OJ.
We're live, and we're back with another week of the Bears Den. I am Sal Rodriguez, joined by my co-host.
You
Joe
not are we live? Are we live?
Well, yes, sir. Yeah, we're still, sir. No, but I just started literally 5 seconds ago, so don't worry. We're live. I got my co-host Joe Tanksley, as well as my man Sean Sierra, who's of course our field reporter. He'll be at Sunday's game covering the Bears and Broncos game. You can also see him, Sean and Maya, and Sports Zone Chicago. Of course, this is War Media and Sports Zone Chicago partnership here. But man, I was just telling Joe, before we came on, is I feel like I've just been repeating the same Bears stuff all week. This, that, Justin Fields, this, Caleb Williams, that, We'll start off just at the beginning, man. We'll start off just your guys' thoughts overall on the game, because we're a few days away from it already. But what else can you really say? We'll start with you, Joe.
I kind of feel like the what we witnessed this weekend. After all the distractions and the things that they had to overcome, and the much to do about the Justin Fields press conferences, and how he's going to play effort and play free and everything. I think we kind of saw more of the same, and I'm kind of wondering what's going on at Hallis Hall, because I think that I know that the players got to be tired of losing, and I wonder if the belief in their systems and the belief in their scheme is there, because it doesn't look like it's happening. When they talked about execution early on in the week. Well, players execute better when they believe. When they believe something is going to work, they are going to execute harder because they have faith in what's going to, they have faith in the call. And that's kind of what I'm not seeing right now. I think the team, is broken. I think, I don't want to say it, but it looks like they got a broken spirit to lose 13 straight games. And granted, it's the Kansas City Chiefs, but you want to see a little bit more fight. They're not finishing plays, they're not executing, which is the buzzword of this week, execution. And it just looks like a very broken team, top to bottom.
Oh, 100%. Even broken in so many ways, including injuries. Because we saw injuries to Tyreek Stevenson and all that. So yeah, it's just another just adding to the tally of just problems for the Bears. But Sean, what about you, man? What was your overall takeaway from that game on Sunday? Like I said, not much good out of it, but just another same crap, different week, right?
Yeah, but you know what? There's a lot of bad going on here, and I'm not as down on it as everybody, and I'm watching it because here's the situation. All right, you're down 3-4. Look at the offensive line for starters. All right, The only person you have starting now, all right, is our rookie right tackle. Okay, our right guard Nate Davis has been out. Our left guard Tevin Jenkins has been out. Our starting center has to move from center to left guard, which means now we have Lucas Patrick at center. So our offensive line is horrible. And people are saying, well, Justin Fields holds the ball too long. I get it on many plays. But if you watch what's going on, and I watched the all 22, just the first half, because at that point it was in some of the second, but not a lot. Receivers aren't getting open. And yes, he missed. He missed. Who was it in the Rashawn Johnson? Was it in the last preseason game or the last? I get it. Okay, but everybody misses. Every single quarterback misses open receivers. So I need the offensive line to come back. Get healthy. Nate Davis should be here. Again, I don't understand why Nate Davis was dressed, but was in a backup role. They just gave you $30 million over 3 years. And I understand you just lost your mom, and I get it. So, but if you're dressing, you need to start. And if you can't play, then you don't need to be dressed. Okay? I respect the fact that his mother passed away. I take as much time away as you need. I get it. Okay? But damn, if you're dressed, you're a much better option than Ja'Tyre Carter. Next, Justin Fields talked about, remember last week, he talked about the coaching. They need to, what they haven't done is scripted runs. Put this guy, do not take one of the most explosive weapons in the NFL and put him in the shed. Okay? You do that, it makes it a lot more. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're going to beat the Chiefs. Okay? I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is you make it a lot more competitive game. I'm saying you build confidence. So I'm frustrated at the at the fans and everybody for jumping on the offense and Justin Fields when it really should be on Getsy. And again, Justin Fields has to play better. I get it. That's point blank, and he's not going to dodge any accountability. He needs to play better. But man, you got to give him some help. Defensively, I have no idea why they are still trying to rush with 4 guys. They're trying to get home with 4 guys and they can't. Why they don't bring with 5? There's small things that if just little tweaks, one of my coaching colleagues told me one time, if you take care of all the little things, there are no big things. So one little thing, you're not getting home with 4. Bring a 5th rusher. Especially if when you're down 21, 24, nothing. What are you going to do? Get burned again? Oh boy, guess what? You're going to so here's your pick your poison. You want to let Patrick, you want to sit back in zone and let Patrick Mahomes pick you apart like he did to that point? Or do you want to put pressure on him, get him off his spot, and if he picks you apart, well, guess what? He's been doing it all game. But change something. So yeah, I'm a little upset about the game. All right. And it has to be from the player. I think that my level of upsettedness is an old word I just made up. Starts with the coaching staff first and then the players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the one thing it's a good segue because that's the one thing I wanted to ask you guys because I keep hearing this, I keep hearing, hey, they should start firing Eberflus. They should start firing these coaches ASAP. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Do you think, in my opinion, I look at it as this. Look, it's on the coaching staff. I 100% agree. It's way more on that. But I will also say this, the fact that if they fire them now, like, what does it do? I mean, they're headed towards a direction that even if they fire a coach, is it sending a message? I understand that a little more. But how do you guys feel? How do you feel, Joe, when people say, hey, they should start firing guys now, including Eberflus?
Well, here's the thing. I have seen instances of this coaching staff being able to, come up with ways to get the team to play hard and put them in positions to win. Even when Ryan Poles stripped down a team, we saw that last year when they, had the mini bye and they came out against New England, and we was like, whoa, what is this? You know what I'm saying? And that's what kind of started, all the Justin Fields hype. So they do have it in them, I think. But I think, for me, a lot has to change in the next, 4 games or so. We need to have some better scheme. The receivers are getting open. Well, you can scheme guys open. What route concepts are we running? What route trees are you running? You have to run a route tree to get open on his own coverage. Make it simple. And that's stuff that they're not doing. I think a lot has been made about, making Justin, a pocket passer. And I think in a way that being drilled into him kind of broke, something that was natural to him. And instead of, adding something to complement his arsenal. And that's what, the fallout is with me. Instead of taking it away, you need to put that in to complement. You think I'm going to roll out right now? Well, no, I'm going to stay put, and I'm going to drill that curl route. Saying, when you think I'm going to roll out, I'm going to do the opposite. And they haven't done that. They haven't mixed it up very well. The play calls have been super predictable. That one interception to Cole Kmet. Justin made the right read, but the linebacker obviously was a scouted play because he wasn't supposed to be there. He kind of faked like he was going one way and then came back underneath and got his hands on the ball, created a turnover. That was a play that was scouting, for that linebacker to make that play. Cole Kmet should have been open. He shouldn't have been there. So your play concepts and scheme are really predictable right now, and they haven't done anything to kind of mix it up and get teams off balance.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Sean?
Man, they're professionals too. They're professionals too. Let's not forget. All right. So yeah, they are scouting. They are reading, and from the end zone cam. All right, that dude actually was going to the right, and he deked because he was a flat defender, but he also knew behind him was Cole Kmet. So, he saw and Justin didn't see him from the camera, from the end zone angle. You can see that from the line of vision, there was him and Cole Kmet, and the guy was behind. I think it might have been the guard or was blocking his view. So he threw it right at Cole Kmet, but the guy had, like you said, Tony. I called you Tony.
I understand. I know.
You know what? Our conversation last week.
Oh yeah.
Because and so he saw that there was a window there. He knew Cole Kmet was coming behind him, okay, because they've seen these patterns, these route combos. So he said, "I'll take the chance," and this is just a great defensive play. Would I take a chance of if I have a chance to give up a route in front of me or a route behind me? Which one am I going to give up? I'll give up the route in front of me. So I'll cheat toward the route behind me. Because I might get a pick, I might deflect it. They might pick it off, which is what happened. Because if he gives it to, first of all, if he throws the ball to the route in front of him, which is the flat route, he can still recover, and it wouldn't have gained as many yards. It was just a good play by the defensive back, nothing more, nothing less. And again, they get paid too, man. People can't just say, "Well, Justin's doing this and he's doing that." This is a good defense. Good defenses, and
it's the best defense that Kansas City. Yeah, it's the best defense that Kansas City has had in a long time, and we do have
definitely Mahomes' tenure. Yeah,
we definitely have to take that into account. And I think they had held Jacksonville to only 9 points. So I mean, they're solid on defense. I mean, I guess my comment was more so, being less predictable, in the play calling and doing things, you got to switch it up from week to week. Are you scouting them, the things that they do in their defense, and come up with ways to beat them and, getting guys open? And I necessarily have not seen that.
Yeah, 100%.
I agree with you. I think.
Go ahead, Sean.
One of the things that I think that they need to do is they need to. The biggest issue that I see them having is people say Justin can't read defenses. It's not true. All right, watching the tape, you see he can read defenses. And I had Eric Kramer on my show earlier this week on Monday, and I pushed back on it because he said he can't read defenses. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, the concepts don't change. A cover two is a cover two. It's whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's the NFL. Now the athletes are different. The disguises for those coverages get more complex when you go from high school to college and then from college to the pros. But the concepts are the same. You're not going to do something different in a regular cover two in the pros than you would do in high school. It's just the athletes are better and the disguises are better. So it's not that he can't read a defense. And here's the thing. Once he realizes what the defense is, he's got to be able to understand what his routes are and hit them. He did that at Ohio State, but he had a lot of time at Ohio State. Here's a lot more. It's a lot different because he doesn't have a lot of time. And then sometimes when he has it, for whatever reason, he misses. So there's a disconnect somewhere because you don't forget where the soft spots are in a cover two. You don't forget where the soft spots are in a cover three or a cover four. You don't forget that from high school to college to pro. You don't forget that. So something's going on. There's a disconnect. And Joe, I think it's part of, I don't know if it's you, Joe, or you, Saul, what you're saying, where they're forcing him, they beat him over the head with win from the pocket, win from the pocket, win from the pocket, win from the pocket. Like I said last week, that's similar to Mr. Trubisky in 2019 after he had his decent year in 2018. You must, Joe, you were right on point when you said add that to his repertoire, passing from the pocket. Increase that. Don't stop running. Increase that the passing the pocket or roll the pocket. Give them extra help. Have chips. Have all these other stuff. Don't just send 2 guys out in the routes,
Mm-hmm.
and you got 5 DBs and linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
5 DBs and linebackers, and you got 2 guys running, and then you wonder why Justin Fields is holding the ball forever. That don't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm. We saw a lot of max protect in that game, a lot of 2-man routes, and the throws that Justin did make. They didn't come down with him. There was a beautiful one to DJ Moore that should have been had, that should have been caught. And the play after is when that Cole Kmet interception happens. So you got to make the plays when you have the you got to make the plays when you have an opportunity to make them, and that's not what is happening with this team right now. And they keep saying that they're close. If they get one play here, one play there, that's every football game. Every team is saying that right now. We could have had this. If we could have had that, things would have been a lot different. We got to execute a little bit harder, a little bit harder. How about we do a better job of putting these people in position to win?
Yeah. And the thing, too, is that you say that about how Eberflus said they're close, and then Justin Fields said they got to go. So then, like to what Sean's saying, the miscommunication, it goes way beyond the field when it comes to certain things that they say.
I think Justin kind of clarified a little bit. I think Justin was thinking in his overall goal is as far as what the offense could be. And Eberflus is just trying to win a game right now. That's all he's interested in doing, is just winning a game.
Yeah. No, yeah, and I think in speaking about Justin Fields, I think is a good segue to what I was going to say, ask you guys as well, because. And you kind of mentioned it, Sean, if you're talking about the way that the coaching is, because that's how I see it too. I think when a lot of people are talking about like Justin Fields is, he's done, this and that, like they should give up on Fields. Like I think it's just an overreaction just because of the way that coaching has been and coaching this and that. So how do you guys feel about when people are like, man, the Bears should be already looking at Caleb Williams, they should already be looking at, the next guy up. Like, how do you feel about that, Sean?
Without an offensive line, I don't give a damn who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, look at the Super Bowl 2 years ago and Patrick Mahomes when both of his tackles were hurt. Okay, they got destroyed. They lost to the Bucs. All right, because they didn't have protection. So the best quarterback on the planet at that particular point still couldn't get it done. So it doesn't matter if you bring Caleb Williams in here. You need an offensive line to protect him. You need an offensive line to protect Justin. So Nate Davis. I hope he's able to come back and play this week and start this week. All right. So now we'll have Darnell Moore and Nate Davis. All right. Patrick is still going to be there. So, okay, we can't do anything with that. Tevin Jenkins is still out. Cody Whitehair's there. But no, Cody Whitehair was hurt, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was hurt. And then you have Braxton Jones, who's going to be out. So now we're still dealing with a patchwork offensive line. That's the starters. You win and lose games in the trenches. So it's going to be another one. You know how you combat that? You run the God-blessed ball. Those 2 guys had 15 carries and they averaged over 4 yards a carry each. But you stop running the ball. Why? I have no idea. Why you decided to say, hey, you know what? We're getting 4 yards a pop with these 2 running backs. Let's stop running the ball. That's a good plan to beat this high-powered offense. And, let's not keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. Let's go 3 and out and get him back on so he can score more points. That's coaching. And you asked us if I think he's going to be fired. No, they're not going to fire him midseason. You already lost your defensive coordinator for just some crazy stuff. Okay, and we don't even know what the hell it was, just inappropriate behavior. We lost our defensive coordinator, and now we got now you lose another defensive coordinator. Who's going to call this? Who's going to call the defense? So there's no way that they're going to get rid of Eberflus mid-season. None. So whether people like it or not, or pissed off or not, that's the reality of the situation. You need someone to call those plays, and it's his defense that they're running. Okay, so we got to suck it up and deal with it. Real talk.
You brought an interesting point, Sean, about coaching, and I keep thinking about Luke Getsy and what he, is doing it isn't doing most primarily. And I look at the teams that use that Shanahan style offense. You talk about the 49ers, you're looking at, the Green Bay Packers and the Miami Dolphins. One thing that they all have in common is they run the ball, they believe in balance, and they have strong identities. Where's the disconnect with, Luke Getsy? How come he can't figure this out?
That's the $1 million question. And, that's the thing that I wanted to ask them. All right. What's your identity? Because that's the whole thing. Once you know what your identity is, now you can play according to that. If you don't know what your identity is, you're just kind of throwing stuff in the air and trying to figure out what you want. So if you decide, which I think you should, to be a running team again, you're going to run the ball. Then those spies that like number 50 was a spy on Justin. Guess what? He's not dropping back in coverage. Where are the tight end curl routes? Where are the tight up the seams? Where are all those things? If they're running cover 4 or cover 2, there should be the middle should be wide open because the spy is up there next to Justin, watching Justin. So where are those routes? Again, here comes coaching. But everyone's going to say, get rid of Fields, fire Fields, let's go over Caleb Williams, blah, 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 blah. We could have had Patrick Mahomes. If Patrick Mahomes came here, do you realize he would have had Matt Nagy? And he'd have this guy right here. He would not be the $500 million man that he is today. That I can guarantee you. We have no one to develop quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at him now. I mean, he's the only reason he's, because they put him in that seat to succeed over there in Kansas City with the offensive coordinating job, is Matt Nagy. They have it easy with Mahomes. Yeah. I mean, it's the facts of the matter there. But yeah, and at this rate, I don't see the Bears winning more than 3 games, let alone more than 2. I don't know how you guys see it, but do you think the Bears, they are they going to end up with 2 of the top 10 picks at this point? Because the Panthers are also 0-3 with Bryce Young. Like, how do you feel about the Bears, win-loss record going forward? Well, how do you feel, Joe?
I mean, there's got to be 3 wins out there for them. There's got to be, especially starting this week against the Broncos. And, the Broncos, just laid down for the Miami Dolphins, and let them score 70, lost by 50 points. And that defense looked worse than ours, which is hard to do at this point. So I think we can find a win there, but it's they don't give us much hope. They don't give us they haven't given us a lot to be excited about. But if we look at it, on a week-to-week basis, which the NFL is a week-to-week basis, things change in a week, especially with all the injuries and stuff that's happening. It's kind of a league of attrition almost. Well, it is, but man, how many games? I picked them to win 9. I picked them to win 9, and I know they're damn sure not getting 9 wins, but man, they got to be able to get at least 5.
What do you think, Sean?
Well, let's see. I'm looking at the schedule now, and I'm looking 1, 2, 3, 4 with the Broncos, 5. I think you get one of the Vikings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Commanders. See, here's the thing. You have the ability.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have the ability to win games. You got a stretch of teams right here. Okay, you got the Broncos, the Commanders, all right, the Vikings, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Saints, the Panthers. Okay, the Lions. We played the Lions 2 times in 3 weeks. I think we can get one of those. I don't think we're gonna win both of those. The Browns, the Cardinals. Okay. I think we can come out with 7 wins, maybe 8. They're definitely not going to win 10 like I had them. I predicted 10. Definitely not going to win 10. But and here's the thing: does Luke Getsy make that change? Does they opened up and they set Justin Fields free last year. He just didn't have any help. He didn't have any help. He didn't have anyone to throw to. He's got people to throw to now. So if you let Justin Fields go free, take the reins off him, let him run crazy, okay? Not as much as he did last year. You compensate with your running game, with the other running backs. So now they're getting the carries, and Justin Fields can just kind of break out when you're tired of getting hammered over the head, and now it's a pass, and all of a sudden you got that spy, and boom, Justin can beat him to the corner, then beat him to the corner and run. If Luke Getsy decides to change the offense again, then we can do that. If he doesn't, because where are the slants? Where's the slant to DJ Moore? You know, in first practice, first day of pads, there was a slant to DJ Moore, took it to the house, outran Eddie Jackson, broke his angle. Eddie Jackson had a good angle. He just flew right by him. Where are those slants? Where are these things? Why are you not? You know what? There's an old thing in coaching. It's called you coach it or you allow it. Whatever's happening on the field, you coached it or you've allowed it. Justin Fields is going back so slow on his drops. All right, I've said he needs to get under center. We need to hit slants. We need to hit curls. We need to hit 5 and outs, quick ins. We need to hit these things to get Justin Fields comfortable, to get him in a groove early. All right, you get him in a groove early, man, there's no stopping him. All quarterbacks they love to get 4 out of 5 out of 6 first passes, completions. Get him, now you're feeling comfortable, now you're getting confident. They're not doing that. They're not giving him the layups. See, the screens are not completions, all right, because you just throw it out there. They need completions for positive yards, not behind the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. So if the coaching changes and the coaching staff has a come to Jesus moment, then we can do it. Because if they don't and keep running the same nonsense, then, man, you're right. They're going to be, I don't know about 2 of the top 3 or 4, but they'll definitely have 2 of the top 10. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, and I think you say it best, Sean. Like you're saying you're hitting the nail on the head on that too, because that's how people don't think about it too. Is a lot of meatball takes is like Justin Fields, like he sucks, blah blah blah. They just got to get a new quarterback, but it's like it's a team effort, dude. Like it's the coaching, it's everything put together. But people don't put 2 and 2 together on that whatsoever. And I think looking ahead, as you guys mentioned, with the Broncos, this is a team that kind of I was telling this Joe before we came on. It kind of reminds me like the Buccaneers game because. They're not a good team, but they think they have enough weapons. And I mean, Russell Wilson's been doing this for a long time. He can muster up a win against the Bears, especially with those guys that he has on the offensive end. But how do you guys feel about this next matchup they got against the Broncos? I know, Sean, you'll be there. So how do you feel they'll stack up against this Broncos team?
I think they should be good. They should be able to hold their own. I think they're at home. All right. I think they're tired of all the outside noise. I wonder if remember last week to the Packers, they got reamed out by the coaches. I'm sure McCaskey came down and talked to him. I wonder if Kevin Warren talked to him, and they're professionals. They want to win. All right. You have guys who, first of all, if you don't have this attitude, you don't need to be out there, but you're dying for a win. You're not accustomed to losing most of the time when you get to that level. I'm looking forward to them to come out. But the only thing is Getsy going to adjust the game plan around Justin Fields? That's the issue. Now, even if he doesn't, Justin Fields still has to play better. All right, them adjusting the game plan around him has nothing to do with hitting a wide open receiver. Mm-hmm. Has nothing to do with reading coverages. Has nothing to do with putting one man in conflict and reading him and making whatever he does wrong. It's just you're not running your types of plays. You can still win. You can still run plays that you're not the biggest fan of. You just have to execute. And I think that's the biggest thing with Justin Fields. Execute. Whatever they call, you execute. And I don't know if they're ready to do that. I don't know if Luke Getsy is ready to just kind of scrap his offense and kind of do what he did last year. I don't know. Because if he's not, like I said, it's going to be a long, 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 long season.
What about you, Joe? How do you feel about this matchup coming up against the Broncos, which a lot of people are like, they're calling it the toilet bowl. I saw some memes of people talking about they should flex this game to 3 a.m. on Wednesday.
I think
That's hilarious.
It is. This is the one that you have to have. This is the one that you have to have after going 0-3. This is the one that you have to have. I think the things line up perfectly. For the Bears to come out here and have success. That Denver Broncos defense. Is not good. So you should be able to come up with a scheme and some plays that can get you some points on the board. But on the flip side, the Bears defense is trash too. And they got Russell Wilson. Even though he's not the Russell of old, he still has enough moxie. He still has enough. He's been doing this for a while. He has enough in the tank to to put points on that defense. And that's what that's where it comes down to.
Yeah, that's the way I feel. It's like they got just enough. But you're right. This is an opportunity to get a win for sure. They just got to take advantage of it. I think that's what I think. But just to close things out here, I got one more question for you guys in relation to the rest of the NFL. As you guys mentioned, Bears go up, as we mentioned before, the Bears go up against the Broncos, but they got obliterated by the Dolphins. They're 3-0. Another team that is 3-0, the defending NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles, who took down Baker Mayfield, 25-11. I was going to ask you guys, which team right now, in your eyes, is the team to beat in the NFL? Because you could go a lot of ways. You can go with those two teams, but you could also say, hey, Kansas City, despite what some call for their standards a slower start with the way teams are working out, obviously they have a lot of injuries. But how do you feel? Which team is the team to beat as of right now? We'll start with you, Sean.
KC. This could be the best. That could be. This is the best defense that Patrick Mahomes has ever had. Okay. Last year, people had talked about, well, they lost the Cheetah, they lost Tyreek Hill. How are they going to do it? Well, you know what Patrick Mahomes said? We're just going to spread it out. His production, we're going to spread it out over 3 or 4 receivers and a running back or 2. And he did. He became better. Okay, and that's what happens a lot of times when you take a number 1 receiver out. Quarterback, now he's forced to make his reads. And then with his ability to extend the play and scramble, you're going to have a lot of his favorite guy is the open guy. And that's the worst part about it for a defense. When the quarterback's favorite receiver is the open one, because that means everyone's got to be on their P's and Q's. And you slip, and once he breaks contain, who knows what that guy can do. So I think Kansas City is definitely the team to beat in the NFL, AFC, and in the NFL. Eagles are looking good again. But you said the team to beat in the NFL, then to me, the number 1 team is the team that we just got blown out by. That's the Kansas City Chiefs.
What about you, Joe? What do you think?
Who was it? Ric Flair. He used to say, to beat a man, you got to beat the man. And the man is Patrick Mahomes. And as long as he's playing, he's going to have that team in position to make deep runs in the playoffs. With that being said, I do think that the Miami Dolphins have shown a lot in these opening weeks, these first 3 weeks. And, putting up 70 on an NFL team, another professional team, that's not something that we haven't seen in a long, long time. I think, another team that I like that's looking really good is the San Francisco 49ers. I think with that defense and the way that they run the ball and, scheme everything off the run and put Brock Purdy in position to make plays. I think they are in a good position. I still don't, I think when it comes to the playoffs, though, I think, I don't trust Brock Purdy, but I think they're poised to make a deep run. I think, those two teams, the Eagles and the 49ers are going to be, gunning for the NFC crown. And I think, the AFC and, the Dolphins got to go through Kansas City.
Yeah, and I think you guys bring up some good points with KC. It's like, hey, as long as the champions are still out there, and not to mention, with the adversity that they've gone through and certain injuries and stuff like that, and they're just playing like, hey, it's just another game. Okay, just got to win another game, and they've done it. They've answered the bell. So, I mean, that's definitely a good call on you guys for there.
Well, let's not forget, Saul.
Yeah, go ahead.
They got one of the youngest defenses in the NFL, the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
They got one of the youngest defenses in the NFL. Like what in this, one of the youngest defenses and probably the best defense for Mahomes in his tenure. These guys are just going to grow together, get better together. Dude, this could be, we could be looking at some dynasty stuff if they can maintain and keep those guys, and the guys who do leave, okay, if they can replace them with quality rookies or second year people, man, this is that's the only reason I pick them over Miami. Don't get me wrong, because Miami, if one guy in the either the pass rush or in the secondary for Kansas City gets hurt, Miami might just find that dude, find the sub, pick on him. So,
yeah, no, they're stacked. So, yeah, at this point, that's why I thought it was a good thing to post you guys, because a lot of these teams are looking really good, and record-wise, obviously, it's hard to split hairs there. So, definitely a good call regardless. But I think that's a good place to wrap things up for this edition of the Bears Den, presented by War Media in partnership with Sports Zone Chicago. As well as always, check out our War Media content, our Substack, as well as Ad Bat, as well as Slam Society, all those podcasts, as well as check out Sean's show, Sean and Maya, on Sports Zone Chicago. I want to thank these guys for joining me, Sean, Sierra, as well as Joe Tanksley. For Saúl Rodriguez, this was the Bears Den. Hopefully everyone has a great week.
Peace.